So yeah, either way, this is a game that we kind of tried to walk you through. Now, obviously, we did win it, but we didn't win it to the best of our ability, I guess. Like it was, there was a few mistakes, and we'll kind of make sure to cover them. But yeah, one of the first big things, obviously, stay in this area when the game starts, just because then you will be able to see them like straight run down at the start of the game, and then you can see if they're trying this kind of cheesy invade. You could potentially, save your bot laner or flash stuff like that just by doing this. So it's a good start.
I've I've played like I'm not a high elo player, and I've yet to see a team try that mid lane strat like right into the bush.
Really?
Yeah, it's never happened. I don't. I It maybe happened once, but our support warded the bush for some reason, and there were 5 people stacked in there, but
Wow, that's weird.
from over
Like
the wall.
I
But
always see that happen, even in low elos. Like, I always get that happen, and I'm like, what the hell? What's going on?
yeah,
So this is actually one of the first big things, actually. So when we're actually looking to layer down our minions, we want to layer the first one first. So right here, this minion is the one that's going to take aggro first. So what we want to do is we want to put 2 auto attacks at the start of the wave in this one. So what do you think this is for? What do you think that achieves? So 2 autos in this.
I would think that it would give you eventually level 2 advantage, but
So slightly, I mean, he's probably going to push it back. Now, what it does actually do is when he's playing this far back and making this mistake of kind of being far away from the actual minion line, we're going to be able to get 2 autos on this before he even walks up. Now, what that's going to mean is our wave is healthier, his isn't, and this one's going to drop lower first. We can last hit this, and then as this one's, say, here, and he goes to last hit this, we can just start putting auto after auto attack in him because we're a ranged carry against a melee, right? So it's like we can basically get a lot of pressure on him early, even with autos, and that's really important for us because that'll get us our electrocute. So it means that if he walks up, it's going to be very easy for us to actually proc electrocute on him, or even just stun him. So it's something that we didn't really do enough. So because, see, we're putting them in so many different minions, what's going to happen now is they're all going to start dropping low around the same time. We don't actually achieve anything.
right.
So we actually missed that one anyway. So if he didn't hit the minions here, this one would have potentially gone too. But
Yeah,
to just, like, what have you noticed about this first 10 or so seconds? How many auto attacks have we got on him?
none. Pretty well.
Exactly. Yeah, not a single one. Where this is ranged into a melee matchup, like you're going to rely on your autos to at least get some pressure in this lane. Whereas we haven't
Yeah,
really done anything. And even though his minions will target us when we auto him, it won't matter too much because we'll get our electrocute, we'll run out, and we'll get away from the wave anyway.
yeah,
So here, so this is kind of another really big thing on Anivia. So if we look at the way you threw a Q here, right? So your Q is kind of the majority of your mana cost. Now,
yeah,
was it here?
yeah.
Yeah, so right here, what does he have to walk up to this wave for? So if we go back, say, 1 second.
I was nothing. I was trying to. I knew he was going to queue the minion, so I was trying to hit him with the Q. I just mispositioned it.
Okay, yeah. Because
So
right here, he gets that one, but that one's really easy to get, right? Because it was
yeah,
already gone. Now, when he walks up here, like, these minions aren't low. So if he
yeah,
gets a Q on them, he's getting a Q so that he can charge his Q up and potentially jump on you. But so that's when he's going to be predictable. Because now he's got his Q up, he's going to be predictable, he's going to try and jump into you.
yeah,
So what you can do is you can sidestep that and get a Q off on him, and it's a bit easier. Or you also want to be using your Q to get like multiple things at the same time. So if, say, for example, this wave's coming in here, like we can't really do a cheater against a Yone. He pushes so hard. I think he's
yeah,
one of the few that you can't. I think it's like Yasuo, Yone, Syndra, like those that can push really, really hard. So we know we're not going to be able to do that. Now, we also knew when the game was going that Zac started red buff, because I think bot lane pulled for him. But, yeah, so we want to basically make it so that our Q does multiple things. So right here, if we throw our Q at him, we're going to not only land it on the 3 caster minions, we're also going to land it on him and be able to get our electrocute off on him. Now, I do think Ignite is a little bit of a mistake on Anivia. I think TP benefits you a lot more because not only is it kind of nice in the early laning phase, you can do a lot of things with it. You can potentially get freezes, stop his push. When you are in kind of a side lane, you also have that ability where you can always TP to, say, the Baron. So that means that this big wave clear that you've got, you can put some more usage later into the game with TP. So I do think, even though TP is a little harder to use, Ignite is just, okay, they're low, we're going to Ignite, great. Or, we're cutting their healing, let's Ignite. TP's a little bit more complex, but it'll provide you a lot more. And I think on Anivia, it's really, really good. So right here, see, we land that there. But ideally, this wave's going to push in, but he's going to get opportunities to clear it as well a lot. So what we could actually do here is... well, we get a lot of aggression off there, and then we could just actually look to just last hit these until this next wave comes out, because as we can see, this is a cannon, so we can push this in, and then we can look to rotate, get, say, a ward down, something like that, while there's a cannon, or we can look to reset the wave before the cannon gets here, but we can't really do that into a Yone. So if we're against another control mage, maybe we could just put a lot into the wave, make it reset so that it bounces for the cannon, or resets for the cannon, but it's kind of hard into a Yone since he has a lot of clear as well. Let's see, now we end up kind of stumbling it. Now, why do you think that throwing Harass at him here is actually a little bit of a mistake? So right here, right? So this is fine. Autos are okay. Now, why do you think using your Q here is really bad?
I have a long lane, and he's hit 2 Qs at this point.
So yeah, so the other thing is, what if you didn't hit a Q here? What's going to happen with this wave?
I believe it'll push out towards me.
Okay, yeah, it will slow push back into you.
Yeah.
So why will it do that? Let's just break it down a little bit and just make sure that we're...
I understand generally that the closer the minion wave is to the tower is going to, if the minions are on the same amount of health, the more it will push towards you.
So have you ever heard of the even minion rule?
I have heard of it, I just don't know the
Okay,
specifics.
so let's break it down. So a few basic fundamentals. This is kind of like, oh god. Okay. Okay, excuse my wonky line, but now let's just pretend that's straight. Actually, I guess we could just use this one. But this one's not bright, so it's kind of... So let's just say this is the halfway point. I mean, you know what I mean. Now, what's going to happen? So what happens if you both have 6 minions here and here? So what happens if you both have an identically even wave here in the dead center of the wave, in the lane?
It should stay even, right?
Yeah, it'll freeze. Now, for context, the minions in mid lane take 22 seconds to get to this mid lane point, and they come out every 30 seconds. Now, just out of curiosity, what do you think that entails for mid lane? What does that change for mid lane? They take 32 seconds to get here, by the way, in a side lane. So what do you think that means for mid lane, just those numbers?
I guess your wave control matters a lot more.
No, actually it's a lot less. Really? In theory, because you can't really freeze waves and stuff in mid lane as easily because you've got champions that could just clear them. Like, say if you try and say, but then they also have to put themselves in a position of danger to clear them, so it can work to your advantage as well. But what it actually means is that there's these 8 seconds where you can potentially have an entire wave cleared. Well, maybe say if you play Anivia, clear it in 1 second. You've got 7 seconds now to do whatever you want on the map. So you can either look to rotate or... So noticing these windows are how you can tell if, say, your laner has reset or if they're going for a run timer. Like, say they're full HP, full mana or energy, whatever, and they're pushing in. And then they look to move and go elsewhere. Then you're like, okay, well, they're not going to reset with 100 gold. So the chances are they're using this push to get a ward down, reset, or rotate into a side lane, stuff like that. So yeah, those are just some basic numbers. Now, if we break this down a little bit more, if say the wave is here, this line, what do you think, or if we just zoom into this spot here, this is like a good freeze location. So what do you think happens to those numbers now based on how long the minions take. Now, if we said that this line is 22 seconds, then, you know...
It takes a second less or
Yeah.
whatever for the minions on your side to
Yes.
get to the wave.
So it
Okay, I
takes
see.
it takes less time. So the way you want to think of it as well is a wave that's coming out of Nexus. If you've got a wave, you want to see this as a reinforcement wave. So this wave is coming out of the Nexus to reinforce the minions that are already there. Now what this means is if they get there first, they start doing damage first. Now the waves are always, except if there's a inhibitor gone, the waves are always identical for both teams at each point of the game. Like everything's identical. So what happens now is your minions get there first, and now you end up slow pushing a big wave in. Now, if we didn't want to slow push that, what do you think we'd need to offset the fact that our wave is doing damage earlier than their wave? What do you think we need to have in the wave to compensate for that? If we would say freeze.
So they would need a minion advantage.
Yeah, so they'd need multiple minions in advantage. Now, specifically, what minion do they need?
I believe it's an extra caster.
Yeah, it's caster. Well, why do we think that?
It's got higher attack speed and more overall damage.
Yeah, it's just more... The damage is kind of the key. So your melees are basically the little tanks. They'll tank the wave. If you want to slow push, for example, you could clear their backline, leave the melees, and then you can slow push that way because your wave doesn't get damaged and stays healthy. And, that's one way you can force a slow push. Now... So we need extra minions now in this location in order to hold it here to make up for the damage that ours are doing. So in this spot, for example, it's around 3 minions. Now you can freeze with 4 as well, but for a perfect freeze, it's 3 full HP minions, except sometimes that could be a little bit hard to do. So if you have 4, it means, you can hold it a little bit and you'll still get that freeze off. Now, like I said, freezes are hard in mid because you've got champions that could just walk up and clear the wave, but these are kind of good overall kind of concepts to know. Now, this kind of plays into the even minion rule as well, in the fact that based on where the wave is even will determine how long it takes to push in. So if, say, for example, the wave is even here, just off center, it's going to take quite a while to push in. Whereas if it's even here, which is where it actually ends up positioned, what actually happens is a minion will stop here, just outside of tower range, and then that will build up a huge slow push, and that's why it's important to say crash waves, because if you can crash a wave, it's always going to bounce back into you unless it resets. So these are kind of good rules of thumb. So if it's, say, even here, it's always going to push in. So... then it kind of comes into the sort of push and pull rule. So if the wave is here even and it's always going to push into you, then what do we want to try and do in the lane? If there's a big slow push coming back into us, what would we want to look to do?
Just last hit and wait for the wave to push in?
Yeah. So we can either last hit or we can even just soak the XP. So what we can do is we can walk in range to get XP and then walk back. It's not worth dying because what's going to happen is if we ever die when the wave is pulling into us, he's going to just crash this entire slow push into our tower and we're completely doomed. It means it's very, very difficult for us to do much then because we're going to lose so much XP. And XP is super important. Yeah, 3, sometimes in 4 waves. Well, I think 4 is only really a top. But yeah, 2, 3 waves are going to get crashed in and we're completely doomed. So what we do is when we know the wave's pushing in and it's building up nicely, we can actually just let it come back and then just farm it on the tower safely. And then what's going to happen if it crashes the tower? What's going to happen then?
Wave will reset back to center.
Or it will slow push into him.
Yeah.
So then that comes on to the subject of pushing. Now, what would you do if your wave is, say, stacking here and it's as big as possible? What would we then do if we've got the much bigger wave pushing in?
Want to look for harass?
Yeah. We look to harass him in the wave. We look to just be as annoying as possible. If he then makes a mistake of walking up and trying to farm that, our wave has so much more damage in it that he's going to get chunked out massively. So we can kind of use this rule, especially on Anivia, to just keep pushing waves in and out and in and out over and over until we get, say, level 6 or even later into the game, just until we then want to have prio. So this is kind of one of the important things, because we never really want to put ourselves in a position where we can't really utilize the way that the wave is interacting. And if we're playing a scaling champion like Anivia, not really interacting as much and not fighting and just pushing waves in and out is perfectly fine. Now, obviously, they might look to roam, which is what he did this game, and get things off that, but it's kind of just like general concepts to kind of know, and it's just going to make your kind of laning phase much more simple. So now when we see this moment where we use that Q here, yeah, we got harass on him, but we're still never going to be able to kill him. It's a Yone. And this is kind of why the ignite is kind of redundant as well, because we're not really going to get into a position when we can kill him. I mean, if he really messes up, we can. But overall, we just want to make sure that we don't let him really do anything. And then we go back. Now, as we can see, we're now pushing this wave. And when this wave would have been back in safety, and right here, he could have just killed you if he played it right.
Yeah.
Or at least chunked you out massively. So now we're in this position as well where we have to force this wave in. And now we're kind of pushing, we're going against the grain. Like, the wave doesn't want to be pushed in right now. And it's very hard for you to do it because of that. So, yeah, it's kind of really risky now, because now this wave's going to push in and he has the potential to freeze it. If, say, his jungle or something came. But it doesn't happen, but it is a point where we could have been abused. So here we did catch him out. Now the problem is here, we do catch him out, but we have to burn pretty much everything for it. Now we do actually have a tier in base, but it's past the 3-minute mark. We don't have a cannon to push in, which means if we reset, we're going to probably lose something. So yeah, so right here, so here, don't ever focus the tower. Because right now, you just really need to reset. You need to get back to base. You've got no mana as Anivia. You do have your tier in base, but again, this would be where the TP is really useful. Because you could get to base, get tier, and then come back even if the wave isn't in the best spot. Whereas now, instead of hitting the tower, we need to hit this wave. And this is one of the reasons why the attack speed rune is actually okay for you here. Sorry, the little one. Is because you need to auto the wave to crash it here because you don't really have much mana. So hitting the tower doesn't really achieve anything. We do manage to get to this Zac. We should have just saved our Q for his last blob and just stole the kill. But yeah, so now see, we're in a position we can't walk back into lane. We're chunked out. We have no mana. And, you know, now this is still pushing back into him. And it's kind of a bit risky. So right here, ideally, the thing we'd want to do is stack the wave up, but he resets, so we have to just look to crash it.
I was hoping that
yeah, we can.
The Kindred would help push the wave out.
Yeah, so we could have just pinged on it. And to be honest, I would have, if I was you, I would have just reset here anyway. So why should you just reset here anyway?
I won't lose very much because it's slow pushing.
So it is slow pushing into him, yes. So if we reset here, we get the ability that we can come back out with the wave while it's still somewhat in this area. Yeah. And then we can actually use the slow push to maybe be aggressive on him. Because right now we have no mana, and even though it would be great if we could push this wave in, there's really not much we can do with no mana as Anivia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very risky. If Kindred would have helped you push, okay, but she didn't, so... And now the wave is it's in a position where you can just freeze it guaranteed.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of a little bit... Oh, well, no, he just hard pushed it. So we would have been kind of doomed if he knew what he was doing.
Right.
Right, so... Yeah, so we have to try and break this. Or we just allow him to push in, but we can't rely on him pushing in, but he did actually do it. So as soon as you actually see that he's just putting so much into the wave, you could actually just stop hitting it.
Okay.
So right here, like, this is okay. Just, I mean, I would have probably still gone to last hit those, because he didn't have his Q up anyway. And then here, we don't want to auto this, because we want him to just keep pushing it in. And as soon as he does something like that, we go, okay, we're not going to touch the wave now, because he's just damaged his wave so much that this is going to come into us. So when this comes up into us, we can hold it again in a favorable position. And more importantly, we can be safe to farm until we hit level 6.
Yeah.
Which is obviously really important. Now we start kind of trying to push this back. Now we put it in a position where, you know, like, it's coming back into us, but... And yeah. So now we hold it here. Kindred should have probably come, but she didn't. But yeah, he has 6 here, so you just want to kind of avoid trading too much. And again, see? So right here, this is another situation. So we just autoed a minion there. So that was bad. Because the fact that we auto a minion means that this is going to push in that little bit quicker. Like, even though auto's what, 61 damage right now, and the casters are... So basically, the casters have to do 2 less autos now to make up for the fact that you did that one auto. So it's not going to be huge, but it is going to be substantial eventually. Because we want it here as long as possible, and the only time we don't want it here is when it's strong enough that we can fight him inside the wave. And that's why we just like hold it and stack it up as much as possible. This was complete grief, to be honest. I'm surprised this worked out. I mean, it worked, but I guess it was okay, actually. Just because the wave was here. This is actually a nice wall, though. But I think if it would have ran this way, he still would have got out. Unless he can't get through that. But I think he could have, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure of the specifics. There must have been a reason he didn't walk that way, right? So...
Yeah.
Wall is a very odd ability because it's terrain, so it interacts very strangely. So yeah, so...
I've had situations where I've walled against another wall and they just can't move. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I've actually seen that. I've had that happen quite a few times. I used to do that a lot. I used to play a lot of J4. So I did it quite a lot then as well. But yeah, so here, so this is bad. So this was actually to do with your camera control. And obviously we can't see it here. But here, okay, we get 1 plate. What's the chances of us getting another plate? Very, very low. And we have no real mana. Now, we have Prio in mid. So this Kindred's actually done the right thing off that. And she's gone, okay, I have Prio in mid lane. I'm going to go and invade him on his jungle. The problem is, because we weren't paying enough attention, we didn't even see this until I kind of called it out for you to go and kind of help. Now, obviously, what that means is she ends up in a little bit of a uncomfortable situation. We do miss our Q there, but we do kill this guy, and then we do kind of want to. Did we have a ward? So we did have a ward. So what we could have done is we could have warded this brush and then just run away, because we've managed to kill a Zac, great, but we have no mana, like 0 mana, like negative 50 mana. I'm joking, but we just put a ward here. We back away and we just recall. We've got an assist, we've got a lot of gold, so we can just go back. And to be honest, in this lane, I think Russian Sorks would have actually just been better. Because even though we do need a lot of mana, we can still... I'm pretty sure we can't just hard force him into tower, because he can 100 to 0 us.
Yeah.
So when we push, we want to be pushing when he's either going to rotate or he's going to do something else. Or, when we look to trade with him and manage to win a trade. Now, if you manage to land a really big Q on him and E, we're going to get a decent amount of damage. Now, right now, he's currently on 46 MR. He took, obviously, the base MR. So we can actually reduce him. Oh, where is he? Oh. So we can actually reduce him 18 magic resist purely with Sork boots. So we can actually we can get him to 28 magic resist, which is below his base magic resist. Now, one of the reasons why this is important as well is because magic pen in general is kind of it will just reduce him substantially, so it'll take away magic damage, magic resist, sorry, based on your magic pen. So if we, even with just Sorks, we do a massive amount. Now, Liandry's is great because of the Zac and Malphite, but I feel like we're not really going to be reacting with those for a little bit of the game, whereas we're going to be reacting with him a lot in lane. And the only real time we're going to be able to hard push in is if we manage to get a kill on him. If we do, we can hard push, reset the wave, and then we're in a good position. Now, one thing here is, one of the things that will help in lower elos as well is to actually ping your jungler when, say, your mid lane is missing. So, missing ping here, and then just spam missing ping on the blue. And, that'll at least alert Kindred that he's not there. She should know this as well, don't get me wrong. But, it's lower elo. Now here, so what do you think the mistake is here?
Well, we know Yone is still going to be in mid.
Okay, yeah.
So pushing the wave doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. Because now we're just walking up and pushing it. We're just gifting him gold, basically. And we're saying to him, okay, you can just have this gold because we're just going to push this wave in. And, that's not too great for us. But this was okay. We could have... Did we not have Q here?
I accidentally used it.
Okay. Where
I
did we...
fat fingered it instead of pressing
okay.
another button.
Oh, yeah, here. Oh, yeah, we meant to turn R off, right? So, these mechanical things, they will happen in these elos. There's one of the reasons why Anivia is kind of good is the fact that, as long as you can play safe and not kind of in too much, like you get to a point in the game where, especially with Gathering Storm, which, again, super underrated rune on champions that can stall out the game.
Right, yeah.
Like, you end up in a position, like, so there, if we got Q off, that would have been great. Yeah. And yeah, so here, see, he could just clear this wave completely free now. Now, this is another thing. So this is a really, really big thing that we have to start doing on Anivia. Now, in this, if we look at this point here, where do we want to be using our wall? So if we...
the tower and the raptor wall.
Exactly. No, oh, wait, tower and raptor wall? Oh, no. Maybe I'll give it away, but no. Where do we want to be using it?
Oh, yeah, we can use it between the tower and the wall, but I just...
Here.
Yeah.
Here. So this is very easy to block off here and then throw your Q guaranteed. So you'll get your Q off almost every time here, which when you've got ult as well, you drop your ult here and E him, and it means that he will take so much poke or runs into you. If he runs into you, obviously you run away, you just kite him and you're great.
Yeah.
So right, so let's keep going. So yeah, so now at this point, he's just been allowed to poke us out massively, and we just keep dropping out ult on the wave, like, for some reason. Where this isn't safe.
Right.
Middle of the wave isn't safe, and look, he's just hard pushing this wave. So just sit back, we've got no HP. Sit back, wait for him to push it in, and then we clear it. We're putting ourselves in positions where we're we're in a lot of danger to clear this wave here, for no real reason, no good reason,
Yeah.
Right, so we pushed that, we reset. What did we get off this back? Okay, so we got Lost Chapter here. So yeah, unfortunately we didn't get that kill as well. So this was okay, but what happened with our Q?
He dodged it with his...
Okay, so this... Okay. Oh yeah, so it was still on cooldown. So this is fine. So now in this situation, this is okay to just push it in. Because, we can just step back and push it in. It's not going to be able to aggress us. And because we had gold for item. We got 1,300 gold nearly.
Yeah.
So we had blasting one. So it's just making sure that...
I switched it to Sorks. I don't think I actually got the blasting one.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, yeah, good. Now see, look at the amount of damage we do there.
Yeah.
Like, and this is why the Sorks are so important. Because look, we grab him with a QE and he's dead.
Yeah. Wow, that was a lot of regen from the last chapter.
Yeah, it's huge.
I never really realized how big it was.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So it's really, really nice. So yeah, so now we're just playing a game of kind of just pushing. Because now we have a lot of mana and we have the ability to. So we get this. So here, we just don't need to fight. Like, we just got the tower and we've got, a lot of gold on us. There's just no need to fight. So this kind of like we're getting too impatient. When if you're being allowed to do whatever you want on Anivia, then that's good for you because you're in a position where you're just scaling, which is great, especially in solo queue, especially because we have Gathering Storm. So here we just get caught for no real reason and die.
Yeah.
So
I was trying because I knew that the Leona E was down. I thought maybe I could just burst the Lux, but I just ran into a Q from the Leona anyway, so I just died.
Yeah. So this is kind of another kind of one of them positions. We just push the wave in. We have no reason to be here. Go and look to do something else. Go look, take their chickens. Like, go down, take these while they don't see where you are. Even go and take your chickens. Like, just make sure that you're clearing jungle camps instead of kind of what we did, just because we died for no real reason when we'd already achieved what we were there to do. We just had to kind of back out and take that small win, and then we'd be fine.
That's a lot of my problems, is just when after I complete my objective, I don't really know what to do, and then I just get caught out.
But then look at this damage. Like, this Yone is actually really struggling against you as a Yone, but we do miss position.
Yeah.
So here it's like, okay, this is good, great, okay. And then we drop our ult, and then we walk into him. Like, our ult should just be here to clear the wave, and we have no vision of this brush. We should never walk up to it. And then obviously here we just had to sidestep down and we get away from it. Like, Yone's ult is actually surprisingly easy to sidestep the further you're away from it. So that would have been a position we could have got away very easy.
I feel like I did. It looked like I dodged it. But
yeah, no, we didn't. So this is where your internet started playing up. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I know we've already covered quite a lot. But we'll just kind of transition into this kind of late game, what you should be looking to do. So here, again, we just crash waves. So right here, what you should have looked to do, actually, is either, like, not walk up this far, or push this wave out and then try and get to your team. Like, so as in, try and space around here, and then try and walk down. I think the problem is that we actually walked up at all in mid lane when we had no vision of where they are.
Yeah.
Like, we have no vision right now. Ezreal's dead. They're both in bot. So what we probably look to do here is, instead of overextending, we could have looked to even go top and sort of try and get aggression here. Because both of our mid towers are gone now. So we need to basically look to just push sideways out. So I think going mid in general was a big mistake. We should have just looked to go top and sort of clear this wave and then the next wave, or we could have just looked to take Krugs because our jungler's on the opposite side of the map. So that would have probably been the play. Yep.
Even as a mobile control mage, you want the mid laner in sideways.
Yes.
Sorry,
yeah.
side waves.
Yeah, you're there to clear. Like, your clear speed is the way you clear waves is almost instant, right? Like, if you drop ult and do Q and then either cannon, like, it's almost insta-cleared. So you have the ability, you can go in a side lane, push, say, 1 or 2 waves out, get them pushing towards. If they send somebody that isn't a control mage into that side lane, it's going to take them a while to clear. So it's going to take Malphite quite a while to clear that wave out in comparison to you. So that time that he spends clearing the wave, you can be in a numbers advantage team fight elsewhere on the map.
And that benefit just gets larger, I guess, with
TP. And it's also the...
taking TP.
Yeah, I 100% think TP is the play. And then also, it's also the fact that, then if you've got TP, you can TP to an objective of the opposite side. So right here, you could be getting pressure top lane, and then TP to Dragon if there's a fight that will actually benefit you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so your wave clear is just huge, and it's super important that we just clear waves, because as well, they won't be in sideways as well. So when it gets to 25 minutes, you get a cannon in every wave. So you end up in a position where you can get pretty much 200 gold or near to, I think it's 195 gold per wave on average. So if you crash 2 waves into their tower and claim 2 waves, then you've just got a kill.
Yeah.
So if you're in the side lane, repeatedly pushing in, denying them that golden XP, that's huge for you. That's completely massive. So here we push this. So here push the next wave because we know they're on Baron, and we could have potentially cleared this, I think. Actually, maybe not. It's probably risky. Yeah, you're right. Getting the Krugs is a safer. We could have maybe pushed this out and got Krugs, but maybe it was a bit of a risk with the Malphite coming.
Yeah. I figured that the Baron recall would make it so that...
No, you're right. So, so here we're just we don't want to pass this point ever. We just want to sit back, wait for this point, sorry, we're on the red side. We don't really want to pass this point. We just want to wait for the waves to come into us and then push them, unless we see them, like, all grouped elsewhere. And then this where TP also helps, because you can keep these sideways pushed out, protect these towers, and then just TP whenever.
Yeah.
So again,
I feel like my itemization was pretty poor this game too, but
I think it was okay. I don't think it was that bad.
Okay.
Like, maybe to be fair, Zac heals a lot, Yone heals a lot. Like, I think your itemization was fine. Okay. I think the only problem is that you went into Zhonya's. Now, I know Zhonya's is great on Anivia, but It's still a case of when you're behind, if you're going damages, if you're going resistances while you're behind, you're never going to get to the point where you can kind of 1v1 them if they keep building damage. And even if they build resistances, if they can already 1v1 you, you end up in a difficult position. If you do want the kind of stasis from Zhonya's, you can just get stopwatch and then build into, say, a Rabadon, something like that, just to increase your damage. Even a Void Staff would have been very, very good.
Yeah, I was after the game when I was looking at the itemization. A Void Staff would have been really good for.
Yeah, I think Void Staff would have been amazing, just in general. Like for I mean, a lot of them. I mean, everybody. So Merc Treads alone have 25% magic resist, which equates to I think 20% reduced damage. So just with Merc Treads, it's 20% or maybe 25% reduced damage just from those at base. So it's the lower amounts of MR actually give more than higher amounts. So it has diminishing returns. So if you get a little bit of MR, it'll actually be more effective than... well, not more effective, but you get what I mean. Like, it loses some of its value. So yeah, so here again, we're just playing scaling game. We're just playing to clear waves, perma, and just play for late, which does happen, which is very nice for us. So I think we actually played these parts okay. We dodged a lot. We did well.
Yeah. The Lux
Okay.
just kind of in a weird spot.
Yeah. So this was kind of grief from us, to be completely honest. We kind of just walked up for no real reason. Like, we just want to walk back and again farm these waves from safety. Like, don't walk up. There's no reason to. There's no towers here. Just farm them from safety and you'll be fine.
I feel like I get impatient sometimes in
Yeah.
games.
Okay, so yeah, we do get very impatient, and I think that's one of your biggest problems right now. Like, you never need to be impatient ever, really, especially on a scaling champ. Like, what are they going to be able to do later in the game when they can never siege? Like, they don't have a long range AD to siege. So in this game, the Lux means that, you know, we can, you know, just keep clearing waves and just play for late game.
Yeah.
Even against Baron buff, like, Anivia can still like push the waves. So we get this. We go into bot lane. Always make sure you clear out camps on the way through, because those camps are going to be the way that they recover some of the gold advantage that you have. And yeah, so now we have items in base, right? Yeah, we did. So yeah, Medjai's here. It's a legendary item. So it gives us more stacks on Mythic, and you know we can stack it quite easily on Anivia because we never need to walk into a position where we can die. Now here, this was kind of a big mistake in the fact that this tower was low. This tower doesn't matter. It's a tier 2. It will allow them to start sieging your base, but it's not worth dying for. Here, we actually play this really well. But after this, we don't think about where we need to walk to after this. Like, the Yone's there, we should have just walked into the Leona. Like, she's not going to be able to do as much, and especially if we stun her, we're fine, you know? So yeah, just making sure you watch where you walk to, because here we could have actually egged further back and we would have been good. But again, they're fighting when their base is in complete ruins. So yeah, not good, not good. So this is actually really good for you if you didn't get caught, because you want to basically control this area, which you can easily do with your ult. So yeah, this was kind of a bit rip. The Yone kind of just killed everyone. I mean, we did miss position. We did get caught by the Malphite, which was kind of on us. But this was a really good fight for us because we managed to just control the area again. And this wall that you did here was really good. So this one here, because it stops them being able to get out of your ult really easily. Now, this is one of the biggest things to Anivia, is wall control is one of the most important things. Just because it means so much. Now here, one of the things as well, we wanted to drop ult in the actual entrance here. So dropping it here is not as good. We want to get it so it covers this area as well, so that then, you know, like, it's much harder for them to run up this way. The only way they can go is here then, but then they're coming into an Ezreal who's going to just do a ton of damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is fine now. Again, make sure we're clearing those camps. So here we can do both of them at the same time. Grab blue, pull it to here, grab Gromp, and then clear them both at the same time here with ult. Always look to do that. You clear them instantly at this stage of the game. And then you can get more of these minions in the lane too. And that was where you had 2 million ping. And yeah, so now we're very strong. Again, we're just preventing the siege. That's our main goal.
Yeah.
Which we can do very easily. Again, Baron buff usually stops mages clearing waves. Not really Anivia. She's too strong.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so this way we reset, come, and we just get tons of kills because we've just been patient. We've just let our safe scale. We've got to the point where we're just really strong, and then we just play this really well.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we pretty much... That was kind of the play that broke it for them because they realized that they can't end now. And we just go and split bot, and then we're good. I think this is the point, actually, we were just waiting for to be able to sell. Yeah, we went for blue buff, and then we went back and sold our boots for Rabadons, which is fine. It's so much damage that as long as you're in the fight and use Zhonya's, it's completely fine to sell boots at that point, just because the pen doesn't do as much because they've got resistances, and then they do actually end. So, obviously, there was a lot of information to cover here. I will obviously upload this to YouTube, so you have it anyway. But do you have any kind of questions or anything just before we wrap up in regards to the game?
No, I think that was pretty intensive and all inclusive in terms of the mistakes that I'm making, at least in the mid game.
Yeah, so we covered a lot. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't think did I even have a Discord when I last coached you?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, welcome. I'll give you the link now. Okay. So yeah, geez, that's been a while then. But yeah, so yeah. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to drop them my way. And yeah, just focus on the things we covered. I'll upload it as soon as I can. And yeah, otherwise, good luck in your games, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely get another one at some point. It won't be soon because I still need to. I'm moving house soon. Hopefully, getting better internet. So
okay. Yeah, that's no rush, honestly.
Yeah.
Plenty of stuff to focus on anyway. So yeah, so I think just focus on those things for now, see how that goes. And again, if you need anything, just give me a message.
Yeah, will do.
Right, no worries, bad. I'll catch you in a bit anyway. Take care. Right, in a bit. Bye.